Hi everyone, today I thought I will make a different video, something I enjoy watching, and then I was trying to figure out what would be the perfect angle to shoot to film this, and yeah, so I think, well, I hope this works like that. So let's see how it goes. Basically, I have made a video before mentioning these flamingos and the flamingo obsession that I have currently, which is all thanks to Studio Jess, whose channel I love watching, and she's a wonderful illustrator, and I have mentioned it many times in my videos. So I have learned to paint flamingos from her. She explains or shows a very simple or straightforward way, which is not overwhelming, and you know, anyone I think could do it. And once I learned how to do that, then I decided to add my own personality, and anyway, so I quite liked it. And then I decided to, first I was adding some flowers and florals and palm tree leaves and all that kind of thing to make it look exotic, and then I moved on to these pink bowls with polka dots. I don't know why, I just like it, and I have done one painting for my son's room, so I'm intending to do 3. So it's going to be a series. So this is the first one, which is already framed. It's basically 2 flamingos. One is balancing on one leg, holding that flamingo, the pink ball. The other one doesn't really care. He's kind of, you know, picking up some stuff from the ground. So that was the first one. The second one is the one that you can see here, which is a bigger polka dot ball, and the flamingo is sitting on top of the ball and kind of, you know, I don't know, I find it funny. I find it like it's almost like a egg that the flamingo is sitting on, but it's not. I like the color combination and things like that. Speaking of the egg, I will just quickly show you. I wasn't planning to mention this one in this video, but I will just do that quickly. So basically, this is a little illustration I've done after I have done this one. I am trying to develop my own illustration style, and I think by doing something like this it adds more humor. I was also playing with the Schminke Gold that I have recently ordered, which I really love, and I will do a separate review of that. But anyways, I turned the ball, as you can see, into a massive egg, and then, you know, put the crown on and kind of also use the black pen, so that looks more sketchy and more like an illustration to me. So that was just something I tried. So having said that, I am about to do the final third one, which I have just done a very quick, very simple. You can see a lot of pencil marks here. This is just to give me an idea of what I want to achieve. So this time we kind of have 2 flamingos, and the idea is that they sort of maybe fighting for a ball, or they want kind of to play together this time. So that's the idea, and so let's go ahead and try to make something like this into painting. So the paper I will be using is the Artist's Watercolour paper by Winsor & Newton. This is actually my favorite watercolor paper, but I haven't said that I haven't tried Arches yet, because it's super expensive, and I like the size. It's an A5. I love the fact that it's off-white, but very pale off-white. It's not very dark. So anyways, let's try and paint this next one. So I'm just going to take it off and rest it here. So I'm giving myself a frame And please don't laugh, but I'm using a chocolate bar to do that. I bought this ruler, which is a tea ruler, and it's massive. I didn't anticipate how big it is, so I find it very difficult to work with because it literally takes up so much space, and I have no space on my desk to just, you know, kind of just sit it to maneuver with it. So anyways, what's wrong with a chocolate bar? Nothing wrong, especially if it's a dark chocolate with pink Himalayan salt. Anyway, so let's see. So this is just a rough frame, and I'm obviously making it slightly bigger because I don't want the pencil marks to be seen. Alright, so having said that, I obviously need to make sure I leave myself some space in the sketch. So I will use, no, I will not use actually, I just realized that when I was doing this one, this illustration and the previous one that I just showed you in the frame, I have not used any pencils or anything like that. It's kind of really dark outside now. The weather isn't great, so I hope it's enough light for this. So in this palette I have Daniel Smith watercolors, and the colors that I'm going to use are the two colors here. So it's the Alizarin Crimson and the Quinacridone Violet. So these two colors here. Okay, so to begin with, I will have to start with the ball because that would give me a good idea of where I'm going to place the flamingos. So the ball shouldn't be too big. This might be a bit big, but we will see how we get on, because if it's too big then I will reduce the size of the flamingos. So the brush I am using, actually it's a bit too much, so I'm going to try and remove the color over here. There we go. So the brush I'm using is the Pentel water brush with a medium brush tip, and I really love it. So to straighten out, I am going to just wet the sides that I want to straighten out, and then the paint will naturally flow there. But if I wanted to have a little bit more pigment and not too pale, then I will add a bit of color there. So that's done. I don't want to overwork it, so let's leave it at that. Now, flamingos. The color I will use for the flamingos, I think I'm running out of it in my palette. Just put it like that. I'm going to squeeze a little bit more out, like that. It's a beautiful color. Not sure if you can see. Very beautiful color. Okay, so, and then we're going to take a little bit, and the idea, I have the sketch in front of me, so it gives me a bit of a mess situation on my desk right now, but anyway, it gives me an idea of where I'm going with this. So now the beaks are, so one flamingo is going to be smaller than the other, because, not smaller, but looking like he's a bit shorter, because he's going to bend his legs. Okay, so to do that I need to get the right proportion, and here it will have to be roughly here. So this is the body. Okay, and then we're going to connect or give them some tail, and then we're going to connect the neck to the body. Now I think the body needs to come out a bit more here. So that is it. Now the next one is going to have his head roughly here, and he's also going to use his beak. So I kind of feel like I put the head a bit too close on the other one. So basically I will have to, and also I'll have to work with it. But speaking of this flamingo, his body is going a bit higher up, like this. So if I want to intensify a little bit of colour and give it more interest, I basically just go in like that. Now the neck. So the neck is going to go like that. It's going to have a nice curve to it. So this is roughly what we want. The tail now. This tail came out perfectly. I probably would just widen the line over here, like that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with it. Now, with the beak, the remaining color I have on here, I'm going to create a very pale looking beak. So this one is going like that, so it's going to almost, I wanted it to kind of be two beaks touching the ball, but by the looks of it, or balancing the ball, by the looks of it, this one is going to be a little bit in front, which is okay. So having done that, now I'm going to move on to legs and use barely any water and just on the tip the colour. So the legs basically with this one have to be bent about here. Now remembering that I need to leave some space, and I'm not going all the way down to that square that I have here. So something like that. I like to give them knees as well. So I think I'm not going to give them feet this time, because actually I don't like how it looks, and I think it looks better when they just have these wonderful long legs like that. So if I need a little bit more colour, I just can go on top like that and just darken it up. That's it. The next thing I would do is, let's see, have a very pale wash of this color and just kind of create a shade underneath them like that. So that's it. Next thing I would do, I don't know if it's fully dry. If it's not fully dry, it will make the paint fade a little bit, or not fade, but like move. So now I'm just going to do the beaks. So the beaks I like to be nice and sharp at the end. And for the beak I'm using the Staedtler Pigment Liner 0.1. So that gives me full control where I'm going with the beak. that. And what else? Eyes need to be white. I'm using my Souffle pen, just dotting it on like this. And finally, I can see we already went over 15 minutes, so I hope I'm not going to have problems uploading this video. So then we're going to create these polka dots. So you need to have a good tip for this, because if your brush is too dry, you won't be able to have a nice tip. It will be dragging on the paper rather than having full control. So make sure that the tip is nice and wet, and then create your polka dots. So, oh, mess this one up. Oh, it's difficult without you know, if you have nothing marked. But the good thing is that here you go, when it's wetter you can see it works so much easier. But if you need to take some of this paint out, you can just go back in and just take it out so that it's not too watery. And then to give it a realistic look, I will do half polka dots here and there, like that. I think that's enough. Yeah. So that's it. The last thing that's left to do is to sign it and wait for it to dry. So where shall I sign it this time? Above his tail. Here we go. Alright, thanks for watching. See you soon.